The first 10 grand feels like dragging a piano up a staircase, but the next 20.
It shows up almost overnight, and what waits for you after 30,000 is about to flip everything you believed about money on its head.
Most people picture wealth as a straight line. Save $1, take a step, hit the goal. 10,000 means 10% done.
20,000 means 20% done. Clean, tidy, obvious, and completely false.
That single assumption is the exact reason so many people stay stuck spinning on the money treadmill for decades.
I'm the host here at Winds of Thought, and I've spent way too many late nights obsessing over the psychology behind money, why certain people slip the leash of financial anxiety while others never do. If you're the type who wants the real mechanics behind wealth instead of vague hustle, culture slogans, smash that like button right now. It genuinely tells the algorithm this channel deserves your
feed. Here's the part that's going to catch you off guard. $30,000 isn't just another rung on the ladder toward independence.
It's the exact spot where the entire game changes shape. It's the line where you quit renting out your hours for cash and your cash starts renting out hours for you.
Where playing defense quietly turns into holding leverage, and your whole relationship with money gets rewritten from the ground up.
10,000 felt like a security blanket, 20,000 felt like the steering wheel, but 30,000.
That's the number where the machine starts running itself, and almost nobody sees it coming. Let's walk through what the typical money journey actually feels like.
At 5 grand in the bank, you're still refreshing your balance every morning with that tight little coil in your gut will rent clear.
What happens if the transmission dies? You're stuck in pure survival mode, and every purchase feels like a tightrope walk over open water.
Cross 10,000 and something loosens, the knot eases, you sleep through the night. A busted water heater doesn't send you into panic mode or credit card debt.
You've officially built what the finance world calls a starter cushion, and for maybe the first time in years, you exhale.
That's the safety checkpoint. It matters, but it's only the opening scene. Safety is the floor. It was never meant to be the ceiling.
20,000 hits differently. You're no longer white. Knuckling it, you're plotting. You could weather a real storm now.
Maybe you finally walk away from that job that's been draining you dry. The second something better shows up,
You start eyeing a retirement account, maybe even opening one. You've graduated from crisis mode into growth mode.
Most people quietly assume this is the finish line, like they've finally cracked the code. But here's the twist nobody warns you about.
People assume 30,000 is just 20,000, but comfier, a little extra cushion, maybe a nicer trip somewhere warm.
That assumption is dead wrong. 30,000 marks a genuine shift in the physics of building wealth.
It's the point where compounding stops being a textbook footnote and starts becoming a living, breathing force inside your life.
It's where money management stops being driven by emotion and starts being driven by strategy.
You stop thinking like a person who merely holds money and start thinking like someone who architects it.
Something clicks in your brain right around this number. Cash stops looking like something to bury in a drawer and starts looking like a toolkit.
Every dollar gets assigned a role. Some dollars stand watch, guarding your safety net. Others get deployed as scouts, hunting new opportunity.
And a third group heads out into the market, working shifts to bring reinforcements home. This isn't just a motivational metaphor. There's real behavioral science behind it.
Researchers describe it as the shift from a scarcity brain to an abundance brain. Once you cross 30,000, your nervous system stops steering from fear and starts steering from possibility.
Decisions get made around opportunity instead of survival. Picture it this way: at 5,000 saved, dropping $100 on anything feels seismic.
At 20,000, that same 100 still gets a second thought. But at 30,000, the question flips entirely. You're not asking, can I afford this, anymore? You're asking, is this the smartest place for this dollar to go toward more money, more freedom, or more options?
This is exactly where most people trip up. They assume 30,000 means license to spend, a nicer car, a bigger apartment, a flashier lifestyle.
Sure, you could go that route, but that's the mindset of someone who has money, not someone who's actually building it.
The people who get this milestone right think in a completely different register. They see it as the moment they stop playing pure defense and start playing offense. Instead of just protecting the pile, they start positioning it to multiply. They take smarter, calculated swings that simply weren't possible before.
They start engineering systems that spit out income with zero daily involvement from them. At this stage, whole categories of investing open up that were previously off the table.
You can spread money across different asset types. You can drop meaningful sums into retirement vehicles that'll snowball for decades.
You can pour cash into your own skill set, a course, a certification, a mentorship, anything that meaningfully raises your ceiling.
You can even test a side venture, knowing full well that if it flops, it won't sink you. But here's the detail that actually separates the wealth. Builders from everyone stuck circling the drain. At 30,000, your thinking shifts from chasing goals to building systems instead of white, knuckling your way towards save more. You start engineering automatic pipelines that save and invest without your constant attention. Instead of hoping to earn more someday, you start funding skills, relationships, and assets that quietly print income on their own.
I call this the liberation loop.
Once you hit 30,000, you've got enough runway to purchase time. Time you funnel into sharpening skills, skills that boost your income. Income you funnel back into buying more time.
The loop feeds itself, spinning faster and faster, and most people never taste this because they stall out before crossing the line.
Comfort is the plateau where ambition quietly dies. Here's the brutal irony. Most people slam the brakes right before the breakthrough.
They coast into 20 or 25,000, decide they've arrived, and stop pushing. They stop learning, stop stretching, stop risking anything.
Comfort suffocates ambition, and they plateau one step short of the most electric chapter of their financial story.
This threshold was never about luxury. It's about leverage, a life where time, choice, and freedom multiply faster than raw dollars ever could.
It's the pivot from working for cash to having cash work for you. Once that idea locks into place, your entire financial trajectory reroutes.
Now, here's something the finance influencers rarely mention, because it doesn't sell courses about six figures.
What actually happens at this threshold isn't just more money in the account, it's a brand new superpower, the ability to say no. Think about your last interview.
With $300 to your name, you'd have grabbed whatever offer landed on the table and said thank you on the way out. But sitting on 30,000, suddenly you're asking different questions. What's the growth trajectory here?
What's the actual culture like? Do I even want to spend 40 hours a week around these people? Desperation evaporates, and desperation is one of the most expensive emotions a person can carry.
This is what I call refusal power, and it might be the single most underrated skill in personal finance.
It kicks in hard right around this number. You can say no to a toxic manager wrecking your mental health.
No to a side gig that pays fine but makes your soul curl up. No to sketchy investments, energy, draining relationships, and opportunities that look shiny on paper but feel wrong in your gut.
And here's the strange flip side. Once you're able to say no, you get dramatically better at recognizing the right yes.
At this stage, decisions stop being reactive and start being strategic. Car breaks down. You're not scrambling to borrow cash or slap it on a card at 20% interest. You calmly weigh your options, repair or replace, and if replace, what actually pencils out long term.
You're thinking like an investor now, not someone treading water. Something else shifts too, and no one prepares you for it. The people around you start treating you differently.
Not necessarily worse, just different. Some suddenly want money advice, flattering until you realize they want your results without your discipline. Others get oddly guarded around the subject, maybe embarrassed, maybe a little resentful. My advice, don't turn into the person who brags about balances, but don't downplay your progress to keep others comfortable either.
You earned this, and the habits that got you here are the same ones that'll take you further. Here's where a lot of people get it backwards.
They treat this number as the finish line instead of the starting gun. They feel secure, so they coast, stop learning, stop optimizing, stop taking smart risks.
That's the plateau trap, and it's where disciplined savers quietly stall out for good. The ones who break through understand something essential. This milestone was never about arriving.
It's about repositioning for whatever's next. Think of it as reaching base camp on a serious climb.
You haven't summited, but you're finally staged for the real attempt. This is where the goal-chasing mindset gives way to systems thinking.
Instead of grinding towards save more, you build automatic pipelines that save and invest without needing your daily willpower.
Instead of hoping to earn more, you cultivate skills, relationships, and assets that generate income while you're asleep, at work, or watching something forgettable on a Tuesday night.
Here's a clean example. At 10,000, dropping $1,000 on a marketing or design course feels reckless.
At 20,000, it feels like a gamble, but at 30,000, the question flips, will this skill push my earning power past what I paid for it?
If yes, it's not a cost anymore, it's an investment. That mental shift is what separates people who accumulate cash from people who actually construct wealth.
Hoarders sit on cash because they're terrified of losing it.
Builders deploy it deliberately because they understand the real danger was never losing money. It was wasting the opportunity in front of them.
At this level, doors open that were previously invisible or unreachable, backing a friend's business you believe in, relocating for a better career market, finally quitting to chase the venture.
You've talked about for years going back to school for a credential that could double your income. These choices no longer come from panic.
They come from strength, and decisions built on strength consistently beat decisions built on fear.
Here's the piece that really rewires how people see money. At this stage, dollars stop looking like something to spend or stash. They start looking like a workforce.
Some staff members guard the emergency fund. Others clock in at the investment accounts, recruiting new dollars to join the team.
This isn't a cute metaphor. It's genuinely how people with real wealth think.
Every dollar earns a job title, and spending without purpose starts to feel like sending an employee home early for no reason at all. And here's a shift almost nobody warns you about. You start valuing your hours more than your dollars, in a literal, mathematical sense.
If your time is worth $50 an hour, burning 2 hours hunting for a $20 discount stops making any sense.
Yet most people never make this leap. They'll burn an entire afternoon chasing a bargain on something that costs pocket change, unaware they could have earned more in that same window doing literally anything else. At this level, you start optimizing for time and convenience over rock bottom pricing. The investing options that unlock here aren't just about having extra cash. They're about having enough to take real, meaningful positions across different assets.
A retirement account, index funds, a handful of individual stocks you actually believe in, and still enough left over for emergencies and opportunity.
That spread isn't just about lowering risk, it's about accelerating your education. Owning stock makes you read business news differently.
Funding retirement accounts makes you actually understand tax strategy. Multiple income streams make you think like a founder even with a day job.
Every skill you buy at 30 compounds like every dollar you save.
All of that learning stacks over time, sharpening your instincts for spotting chances, dodging landmines, and squeezing more value from what you already hold.
The person who reaches this number isn't just richer, they're sharper, steadier, and considerably more strategic across every corner of life, not just their bank statement.
But here's what actually makes all of this possible in the first place. Reaching this number proves undeniably that you can delay gratification at scale.
You've shown you can pick long-term payoff over short-term dopamine again and again. Even when it was boring or difficult or everyone around you was spending freely while you held the line.
That proof of discipline is enormously powerful, and it bleeds into every other part of life.
Once you know you can hit this number, you start believing you can hit other hard targets too. Getting in shape, mastering a new skill, launching that business, writing that book, relocating to the
city you've always dreamed about. Psychologists call this a positive feedback loop. Success breeds confidence. Confidence sharpens decisions. Sharper decisions produce more success.
It's a snowball gathering size and speed with every rotation, and once it's rolling, it's nearly impossible to stop.
The exact habits that got you to 30,000 are the same habits that carry you to 100, then further, then wherever you decide enough actually lives.
The hardest part about hitting this number isn't the saving itself, it's resisting the urge to torch it the second you cross the line on something that makes you look wealthy instead of something
that makes you actually wealthy. That temptation is real, and it whispers convincingly, you've earned that new car, you deserve that trip. Maybe now's finally the time for the kitchen remodel.
What it never tells you is that every dollar spent chasing the appearance of wealth is a dollar that can't get to work building the real thing. Picture two friends, one hits 30 grand and drops 20 of it on a down payment for a flashy car, gorgeous in the driveway, brutal on the monthly budget.
The other hits 30 grand and puts that same 20 into a diversified portfolio. 5 years later, the car's worth maybe 12.
The portfolio's worth north of 35. Same starting line, wildly different finish.
The gap isn't intelligence or luck. It's understanding that this number was never about what you can buy today.
It's about what you can build for tomorrow. And here's where people miss the point entirely. They assume building wealth means monastic sacrifice, instant noodles, zero joy, endless restraint.
That's not wealth building. That's self-inflicted punishment wearing a savings account as a disguise.
The real secret is spending on things that pay you back, in cash, in time, or in future doors opened.
A certification that doubles your rate, a small stake in a friend's venture that pays a little every month for years.
A chunk parked in index funds and forgotten for 2 decades. 30,000 isn't the finish line, it's the launch pad.
This number was never your destination. It's your launch pad. It's the moment you stop being someone who merely saves and become someone who actually builds.
The real contest was never about the digits sitting in an account. It's about constructing systems that manufacture freedom, options, and choices most people can't even picture yet.
So if you're sitting at 15 or 20,000 thinking you're nearly finished, think again. The most electrifying chapter of your financial story hasn't even opened yet.
And if you're nowhere close to 30,000 right now, don't let that discourage you. Every dollar you set aside is a vote for who you're becoming, not just a number on a screen.
This number was never about the money, it was always about the transformation. And once you cross it, there's no going back to thinking small about what your life can actually hold.
If this reframed how you see your own progress, hit like right now, and if you want more breakdowns like this one, this is exactly what we do every week here on Winds of Thought.